You know, my mayor takes a lot of shots, and she's courageous enough to stand up and lead this city. You know, I've been doing this job for a long time, and I've been standing in front of microphones like this and news conferences way too many times. And I've lived through a riot of Rodney King. I've lived through riots in Oakland, and now I'm living through them in the city of Baltimore. And when these things happen, this pain, this trauma that takes place in the community, you don't always see the richness of the community. These people who are standing behind me, these are the people of Baltimore that I know. People who care, who love this city, who are very good people and have do a lot for this community. When you're from Baltimore, you're from Baltimore. It's something that's in your DNA. And you know, at the same time, as I see behind these cameras, my officers boarding that bus behind you, they love Baltimore too. I had officers come up to me and say, I was born and raised in this city. This makes me cry. And one of my officers came and said, I went home and cried last night. This is a sad part of my city. But I think what you're seeing today within our community also is people out celebrating and trying to heal this community. It's clear that what we have to do is change the culture within the Baltimore Police Department. That's something that we've started on 2.5 years ago and doing things totally different. Bringing this community inside this police department. Taking the police department and sitting down and reading to 5, 6, and 7-year-old young kids. Bringing athletics and making police officers coaches. We have more to do, but we can't do it this way by destroying this beautiful city. We have a lot of things that we need to change, and we're willing to work that direction. Very shortly, we've had a okay day today. We had a small events that took place on the eastern portion of our city early this morning that resulted in a couple of arrests. We had some opportunists go into a couple businesses, but overall today it has been a very good day. I was very pleased to see north in Pennsylvania. We had dancing, we had people celebrating, we had people bringing calm and peace. We had 1 or 2 people that acted up that we made 2 arrests that are out there, but for the most part the city has been calm today. People may ask also and put the question, why didn't you move faster yesterday? Did you prepare yesterday? Yes, we prepared. We had over 200, 300 police officers out there around that mall at the time that it took place. Why didn't you move faster? Because there are 14, 15, and 16-year-old kids out there. Do you want people using force on 14, 15, 16-year-old kids that are out there? And they're old enough to know better. They're old enough to know not to do those things. They're old enough to be accountable, but they're still kids, unfortunately. And so we had to take that into account while we were out there. We will continue to put information out on social media from the Twitter. I would ask that you guys continue to put information out and make sure that the community is aware. We have no exceptions other than for medical or coming and going from work, that we will be stopping people who are out after curfew, that we're taking that seriously. We don't want to engage in any forceful action whatsoever. We have the National Guard here. We also have state police and a multitude of other agencies outside from New Jersey, even from D.C., as well as multiple counties within the state of Maryland. So we'll be out in strong numbers, making sure that we have no issues within our city. And we ask everybody to cooperate and be understanding at this point in time. I know it's a little, it throws people off who want to go out and have dinner and different other events. But as we move forward to calm our city, have a little patience with us as we move forward, please.
Commissioner, in terms of the threat against police officers, are you receiving any new intelligence that's indicating that's still ongoing, or?
We have no new intelligence, but also we had one gentleman who shot at officers last night on one event in the Northwest. But we deal with threats on a common basis. That's the reality of policing. I don't want to focus on that. I'd rather focus on the fact that we have these wonderful citizens behind us and the mayor standing there, and they're willing to be the positive, not the negative, within our city.
Of Saturday's protest, which ended pretty badly at the end of the night, announced today and has circulating flyers, same thing for a protest here this coming Saturday. Is the city prepared for that, and how does the city respond to that?
we are bringing in a lot of resources that continue to come in. Like I said, from other states, Jersey, Pennsylvania, also from Washington D.C. area. So our numbers are growing with the National Guard here, State Police here. Also, our numbers are growing in hold to keep the city quiet and make sure that everyone is safe. You know, it's the same thing. When people come out from outside, it's one thing when people are saying we have pain within our community. It's one thing when people say we want this police organization to change, and since they pay our salary, we need to change to adapt to how the citizenry says here. But when people come outside and hurt this community, and then when it's done, they leave and go home, and then we're in shattered infrastructure, it's just not the right thing to do. So what I've been told is that activists within our community, ministers within our community are trying to have conversations with people who are leading this stuff to remind them this is where we live, this is where we worship, this is where our kids go to school. So don't destroy it.
Was there a link between a group of high school students who were demonstrating yesterday and those social media posts about the purge? Did you find a direct connection to that?
I think probably there was a social media posting that said, come out to Madame Mall at 3 o'clock and we're going to do a purge. The only thing I know about Purge is a movie that's a part 1 and part 2 about running on a rampage. The kids came out of high school, so I guess you could make a corollary about some of those kids being out there at that location. Also, that Madame there is also a hub for about, I believe it's about 8 different schools. So on a daily basis, we have big numbers of kids that drop off there on a constant basis. That just wasn't one high school that was there. When we started making mobile field force movements there was buses in line, and they let the kids off the buses. So we had even greater numbers that grew out there.
Commissioner, what's the latest on the injured police officers? Commissioners police who are here from New Jersey and Pennsylvania, either the National Guard, do they have arrest powers in Baltimore City, or how does that work? And are you concerned about coordinating all that and keeping them in line with the approach that you're trying to take?
Well, my responsibility as the incident commander that oversees all these responsibilities within the city of Baltimore is to make sure that they act at the level that we have expectations with our citizens and our residents. So we're working through that. I just had a conversation with the colonel of state police. We were discussing how to make sure that we operate appropriately and by the same procedures.
Yesterday we heard one officer was unresponsive.
I'm sorry, one more time.
What's the latest on the injured police officers from last night?
I went. We had a number of police officers, and I have to check on the firefighters. I had about 15 of our officers, and a lot of them were bruises from bruises on their hands from rocks and bottles being taken. I had one officer, Brian, who was in hospital. I went to see him. Got struck in the head. Now he was held overnight because I had to do scans to make sure there wasn't any permanent damage. I hear he's doing well. All the rest of my officers have been treated and released at this point in time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.